On the island of Ikaria, Greece, something extraordinary happens. 1 in 3 people lives past 90. Half the cardiovascular disease of Western Europe, a quarter of the dementia. These numbers are not accidents. They are the living proof of generations of dietary wisdom. Yet, the foods that make this possible cannot legally claim on their labels what science has clearly shown. Under current U.S. regulations, only pharmaceutical products that complete the full approval process can claim to treat or prevent disease. Greek mountain tea, the daily ritual of Ikarians, cannot state that it produces the same diuretic effect as the blood pressure medication 50 million Americans take each month. Even though the University of Athens documented the exact mechanism, the herb remains silent while the pill speaks freely. This is what banned truly means here. Not hidden, not suppressed, but legally silenced by a system designed for molecules that can be patented. On Ikaria, 7 foods in the daily diet replicate the biochemical effects of 7 of the most prescribed drug classes in the Western world. All are accessible at any grocery store or online. None cost more than a few dollars per week, yet none can advertise what they actually do. In this series, we will explore each one, what it does, which drug it mirrors, where to find it, how to use it, and the weekly cost. By the end, you will have a complete daily system in your hands. The first food is Greek mountain tea, scientifically called Ceteris scardica, known locally as Malotera. Ikarians brew it every morning instead of coffee. Its pharmacological classification, diuretic and anti-inflammatory. It mirrors the first medication a cardiologist prescribes for high blood pressure, a diuretic that instructs the kidneys to excrete more sodium, lower fluid volume, and reduce arterial pressure. Over 50 million Americans rely on this drug monthly. Professor Iannaccinu at the University of Athens tested the herbs most commonly consumed on the island. The results revealed strong antioxidant properties and mild natural diuretic activity, the same mechanism as pharmaceutical diuretics, accumulated over decades through dietary intake. The key difference: pharmaceutical diuretics deplete potassium, requiring constant monitoring. Mountain tea does not. It delivers the diuretic effect without disturbing electrolyte balance. Research published in the journal Neurology by Johns Hopkins found long-term diuretic use is associated with nearly 75% lower Alzheimer's risk compared to non-users. Ikarians have been drinking this mild natural diuretic every morning for their adult lives, which contributes to their dementia rates being a quarter of Western averages. To use it, find Greek mountain tea or Ceteris scardica online. $8 to $12 per 100-gram bag yields 30 to 40 cups. Steep 1 teaspoon per cup for 7 minutes in hot water. Add 1 teaspoon of raw honey only after steeping, never before, because honey's active enzymes degrade above 40 degrees Celsius. This is your morning tea, starting tomorrow. Avoid substituting chamomile or peppermint. Only Greek mountain tea grown at altitude contains the potent polyphenol concentration necessary. The second food is extra virgin olive oil, 3 tablespoons per day, always added after cooking, never during. Its pharmaceutical counterpart is the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, like ibuprofen and naproxen, taken daily by 65 million Americans to manage chronic pain. Extra virgin olive oil contains oleocanthal, the compound responsible for the peppery throat burn in high-quality oils. Research led by Gary Beauchamp at the Manel Chemical Senses Center, published in a 2005 Nature paper, identified that this burn occurs because oleocanthal inhibits COX-1 and COX-2 enzymes, the exact same targets as ibuprofen. 1 liter of quality oil contains approximately 200 milligrams of oleocanthal. A standard adult ibuprofen dose is 400 milligrams. 3 tablespoons of olive oil daily provide a consistent, low-level anti-inflammatory effect compounded over decades without the gastrointestinal damage caused by long-term NSAID use. Not all olive oil delivers meaningful oleocanthal. It degrades quickly after extraction and under light exposure. Look for a harvest date on the bottle, not just a best-by date. Dark glass bottles and a peppery burn are indicators of potency. Clear bottles on warm supermarket shelves are mostly depleted. To use, take 3 tablespoons per day, always added cold after cooking. The polyphenols survive this method. High heat frying destroys them. The third food is dandelion greens and other bitter wild plants, locally known as horta. They mirror diuretics, but with a crucial difference. Pharmaceutical versions deplete potassium, while dandelion greens are high in potassium, replenishing what would otherwise be lost. This plant provides the diuretic effect while maintaining electrolyte balance, a property no pharmaceutical diuretic offers. Research led by Dan Buettner documented that the wild greens consumed by Ikarian centenarians have antioxidant activity 10 times higher than a glass of red wine per gram. The bitterness signals the flavonoids responsible for this activity. Find dandelion greens at health food stores, Asian markets, and farmers markets. For substitutes, kori or arugula are accessible options, though with lower concentration. To prepare, Blanch briefly in boiling salted water, drain and dress generously with extra virgin olive oil and fresh lemon. Flavonoids are fat soluble. Without the oil, a significant portion passes through unabsorbed. Use olive oil and lemon only. Serve 4 times per week alongside main meals. Avoid commercial balsamic glazes or sweet dressings, which counteract the insulin-regulating benefits. The fourth food is raw honey, 1 teaspoon per day, added to your morning tea. Raw honey retains hydrogen peroxide and peroxidase enzymes, preserving broad-spectrum antimicrobial properties, documented since the 1980s. Pasteurized commercial honey, heated above 70 degrees Celsius, loses these active compounds. A review in Nutrients in 2017 confirmed significantly higher antioxidant activity in raw honey compared to processed varieties. Brands like Beekeepers Naturals or YS Organic Bee Farms provide raw honey with verified processing standards. One 12-ounce jar at $10 to $15 lasts a month at this dosage. Purchase from health food stores, farmers markets, or online. Look for raw and unpasteurized on the label. The fifth food is chickpeas. Slow cooked, refrigerated overnight, eaten cold or gently reheated, they mirror statins, the drugs prescribed to reduce cardiovascular risk through systemic anti-inflammatory effects. When chickpeas cool after cooking and are refrigerated overnight, their starch retrogrades, becoming resistant to digestion in the small intestine. This resistant starch passes into the colon, where gut bacteria ferment it into butyrate, the primary fuel for colon lining cells. Adequate butyrate maintains the gut barrier, controlling what crosses into the bloodstream. Compromised gut barrier function drives the chronic inflammation that predicts cardiovascular disease and cognitive decline after 60. A longitudinal study from Loma Linda University tracked 7,000 people for 30 years, revealing that those consuming legumes 4 or more times per week had a 22% lower risk of cardiovascular disease compared to those eating them less than once weekly. Cook dried chickpeas on Sunday for consumption during the week. Canned chickpeas, rinsed and refrigerated overnight, also develop meaningful resistant starch. Serve cold with olive oil and lemon, or reheat gently. Avoid high heat frying, which destroys the resistant starch. On Ikaria, this dish is called raithia. Chickpeas cooked with water, olive oil, garlic, and lemon until the broth thickens. Serve 4 times per week alongside bitter greens. The sixth food is sage, Salvia officinalis, brewed as tea on alternating mornings. Its drug counterpart is the COX-2 inhibitor, celecoxib, prescribed for arthritis and inflammation. Sage contains rosmarinic acid and carnosic acid, both documented to inhibit COX-2. Generations of Ikarian families used sage tea with raw honey as the first response to sore throats, fever, and respiratory illness, long before pharmaceutical interventions were considered. 1 teaspoon of dried sage in hot water for 5 minutes, sweetened with raw honey after steeping, 3 mornings a week, alternating with mountain tea, provides a subtle but consistent anti-inflammatory effect. The seventh food is rosemary, a culinary herb used consistently in bean dishes, roasted vegetables, and soups. It mirrors a second COX-2 inhibitor at dietary levels. Rosemary contains rosmarinic acid and carnosol, both documented to inhibit COX-2 enzymes. Evidence comes primarily from in vitro and animal studies, so claims are conservative. Still, consistent use in cooking accumulates COX-2 inhibition over decades. A sprig added to chickpea pots every Sunday under $3 at any supermarket provides long-term benefits. A critical warning: these foods are substitutive, not additive. Simply adding olive oil, chickpeas, mountain tea, or bitter greens to your existing diet does not produce the same effects. Olive oil works because it replaces seed oils and butter. Chickpeas lower inflammation by replacing animal protein at several meals each week. Without substituting, you only add calories and cost, not the mechanism. A full week on the Ikarian system looks like this. Every morning, 1 cup of Greek mountain tea or sage tea with raw honey added after steeping. A piece of bread with olive oil if needed. Midday, 4 days a week, serve raithia, chickpeas with garlic, olive oil, and lemon, finished off heat, or lentil soup with rosemary, olive oil stirred and cold, alongside bitter greens dressed with olive oil and fresh lemon. 3 tablespoons of quality olive oil per meal, always added after cooking. Evenings feature light vegetable broth, sheep's milk feta with tomatoes and olives and seasonal fruit. Sunday prep includes 1 pot of chickpeas for 4 midday meals. Total weekly cost: mountain tea $3, raw honey 250 cents, chickpeas 150 cents, bitter greens $4 to $6, olive oil $4 to $6, feta $4. All core meals come in under $25 per week. Within 7 days, gut motility shifts. By 30 days, morning joint stiffness begins to ease. Olive oil's anti-inflammatory effect accumulates, and morning tea becomes habitual. After 90 days, this system is no longer a protocol. It is a lifestyle. Mountain tea is morning, chickpeas are Sunday, bitter greens are on every plate, olive oil goes on last. This is exactly how Ikarians have done it for generations. Begin today. Find Greek mountain tea, brew it with raw honey tomorrow morning. That first cup is the first of 7 mechanisms. If you are on prescription medication for blood pressure or other conditions, consult your doctor before making significant dietary changes. These foods complement a healthy lifestyle. They do not replace medical care. 7 foods, 7 mechanisms, 1 island, and 1 in 3 makes it past 90. The mechanism has been on the plate the entire time.